got an email from Two Wheel Hardo about the firing squad, that story a moment ago. It just reminded me, a couple of weeks ago, remember I was at the outdoor heavy equipment spot.
Yes.
And Dawson was the promotions assistant. He works here in the building, Dawson. He's about early 20s. Great kid. Really like him a lot. Many people think he's my son.
That's right.
He's tall, ruggedly handsome. So...
Weird thing to say.
Now, he crossed me that day because he said he didn't like Tom Petty. American Girl. We played American Girl, and I said, I love Tom Petty. He goes, really? I hate Tom Petty. Now, I still haven't gotten over it. But I like Dawson otherwise. Well, something else that happened that day was a customer came in riding a three-wheel motorcycle. And Dawson said, I love those three-wheel motorcycles. And I said, oh, Dawson. There's a guy.
Be glad there's one man not here today.
That's right. A guy named Two Wheel Hardo. I said, that's how he got his name. Two Wheel Hardo called here 10 years ago, and we were talking about motorcycles. The
three-wheelers.
Yeah. And he just was enraged about those three-wheel motors. And Chris Demm called him, all right, Two Wheel Hardo.
Big time.
And since then, he has been Two Wheel Hardo. Anyway, he says today, the firing squad should have rifles locked into a specific spot on the backstop and fired by computer. Take people out of the equation altogether. They have the technology. I don't have sympathy for death row inmates. So the flip side of this argument is the only way to get around the cruel and unusual aspect is to do it more often and make it the usual.
So he wants more firing squads.
Yep. But he wants a computer to do it.
Okay.
So that there's no way to miss like that. Which I guess they probably do have the technology to do. They have everything else.
Do they?
Well, I mean, I don't know, but if they've got a self-driving car, they probably have a gun that will fire perfectly.
Sure, yeah, they can line it up.
Wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
My wife and I were watching I guess it was CBS Sunday Morning. They did a piece on Waymo, those self-driving taxis that are now in
at least 2 or 3 cities.
It's like San Francisco, L.A., Austin,
I think Phoenix
Texas,
has one.
Phoenix. They're going to be in 10 more by this time next year. They're going to start coming East Coast. Come on. And I told my
Bring it on.
I said, you know who loves this is Chris Demm. And she goes, I don't understand this. We were watching it, and they're talking to a guy in San Francisco, and he loved it. Every day he got to work by ordering one on his app. It would pull right up. He'd get right in the back seat, and it would take right off again. And those Waymo, it is weird to see because they're not even in the front seat. They're in the back seat of the car, and the car drives itself.
They just on their phones.
They do whatever they want. Yeah.
In the back.
Exactly. But see, I have always thought that, and I know we've talked about this many times, but when you get a self-driving car where, I literally own a car that drives itself, I always felt like they'd still make it illegal, for instance, to be drunk because if something were to happen, you'd have to take the wheel and the 1 out of 1,000 chance. But in this case, my wife said, but they can't take the wheel. They
don't take the wheel.
So maybe you can just be on your phone.
Whisked to the bar and whisked home.
Apparently. Mm-hmm. I mean, it wouldn't be perfect, but it would be very close to perfect. And you should see the way they've got these things. It's like 29 cameras at all times knowing what's around the next corner. And the reporter tested it because one was coming down the road, going only about 10 miles per hour. He said, I'm going to step out in front of it and see if it stops. And not only did it stop well short of him.
A middle finger shot out from the hood. Now that would be impressive. I have the right of way, you douche.
That is not a crosswalk.
No, he was standing there interviewing the guy who invented it, who perfected it, and he's like, "Well, here comes one." It was going out for its daily run. There was 5,000 of them sitting there, and one of them was going out. He goes, "I'm going to step in front of it and see what it does." He goes, "Be my guest." So it did stop, and the owner, the CEO, said, "Did you notice? Not only did it stopped as soon as you began to he got near the curb and it stopped, anticipating that it might step out." I don't guess this is a bad thing, but it goes the speed limit. It will never go above. So if you're going to try to get somewhere, just be aware it's going 55 miles per hour on the interstate. Locked in, exactly.
I get that.
Which makes sense, of course, yeah.
You guys tell me if I was racially profiled over the weekend.
No.
Yeah.
Well, there's more.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
If I was to bet.
Oh, sorry. My fault.
I would never want to. I don't know the struggle. I'm not.
All right.
I try to be empathetic to those who are struggling in the other communities. But as Chris Kelly knows all too well, unfamiliar, that my wife's birthday was this past weekend.
I texted her at 6 a.m.
That's what she said.
Weird.
Yes.
I was up at 6. I wanted to be the first.
Well, you were.
To text her. I said, I hope you have a fantastic day. Then I sent a selfie of myself, like waving. To her.
Ew.
Doesn't matter. Wish
I'm
her
outside your house. What?
She's terrific.
So we had made plans to go out to a very nice restaurant, and we were going to have a couple glasses of wine. So we decided to take a Lyft, and because don't want to take any chances drinking and driving.
Lyft over Uber.
Yes, we had the last time we took a Lyft, the driver said that he prefers the way Lyft treats drivers.
Oh, really?
So we said, okay,
Yeah.
All right, we'll go
I've
Lyft.
heard that
Works for me.
before. Yeah.
Oh, Lyft is better
Better
than Uber.
Yeah.
All
As
right.
far as treating the drivers well.
Some work for both, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, plenty do.
Okay.
So anyway, our Lyft driver picks us up, takes us across town, no problem. She gets up every morning at 3. We were her last fare of the day.
Okay.
So dinner goes by, a couple of hours. We order a Lyft home.
Yeah.
And I think his name is Martine or Martine. I can't remember what. But he had a cool car. It was clean. The first car was dirty.
Okay.
Unfortunately. But his car was clean. It was warm. And Beth sat behind the driver. I sat behind the passenger seat. And he had a little video game board. Like strapped to the headrest.
That you could play if you wanted.
I was playing trivia games. I was playing picture match games, and I loved it.
Yeah.
And I barely noticed what was happening, but Beth was more in tune because I had the game in front of me, and I'm like a moth to a flame.
Right.
When we get in the car, he's playing some good, kind of hip hop music.
All right.
Good mix, and I can see the dial because I'm in radio. You scan these
pay
things.
attention to it.
Yeah. Well, by the time we had gotten out of the parking lot, he'd switch it over to country.
Oh, assuming since you're white
folks want country.
Country, yeah.
So we switched it over to country radio.
And you didn't want that. You would have preferred the.
My wife was upset.
She didn't.
She thought we were being profiled.
It's possible. I mean, maybe.
But well, one, you two wouldn't have given me a country vibe.
More
of like an AM classical.
I was gonna say adult contemporary.
Like
maybe,
Celine Dion.
Maybe a little Michael Bolton.
That's me. Boy.
Yeah.
If I got in there, they'd probably put country on for me too. This big lummox getting in
there. No,
with
I
an
think
ill-fitting suit.
Yeah, bad suit.
Depending on what you're wearing, but
I had a blazer on. Beth had a nice dress.
Yeah,
He
I
put
mean,
it on country.
I definitely understand the move because he was probably thinking to, and probably from experience. Depending on what he's listening to, somebody may say, "I'm insulted by the language in this music." So
possible.
Let me change it to you change it to something safer, which is probably country.
You think if a black guy gets in and he was listening to country, he'd flip it over to
the other way?
I do think so.
You think? I don't know. Yeah, I'm more.
Oh, I think so.
You think? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if he's going to do it one way, he'd probably do it the other.
Yeah, I was more looking at it from an age point of view too.
Oh, I see.
Younger. So people, depending on
if a 23-year-old black guy gets in, he's going to put it on hip hop.
You just leave it. Yeah, I would have left that on. If a 23-year-old white guy got in, I'd have left
it on hip hop.
Yeah,
exactly.
But as you're older too, I think that plays a role. So they're like, well, they're not going to like this. Let me try to. I don't think he probably meant it in any bad way. I think he just thought, I'm going to make these people more comfortable.
But his Chris Demm's wife was.
Yeah, but see and this is probably from experience too. I'm sure he's had people get in the car and be like, what is this?
With
I cannot listen to this.
Well, I don't like the language. If there were a bunch of F words in there, I wouldn't like that. I mean, I just don't like it.
So he's looking ahead.
So 25 years from now, when the current 23-year-old is now 48 or 50, will they still turn the dial, or is everybody just going to be used to having all those?
You have your own music on your own head.
Oh, probably. You're probably already wired into your.
Yeah, there's no driver.
It won't even matter. There's
no
driver.
There's no
driver. It's already in your skull. Bad question.
Yeah.
Yeah. It won't even matter. Exactly right. That's right.
I wouldn't call. I guess that is some profiling, but I'd call it safe profiling.
Oh, you're okay. You're okay with that?
Yeah, I'm
Safe
okay with
profile.
that profiling.
Just some light discrimination.
You know,
Yeah.
we used to work with Deidre, who was a black woman, and she told me that. She told us this great story once that she was a Foo Fighters fan. So one night she's going to see the Foo Fighters concert, and in the same area there was like say, remember that
It was 2 different events in the same space.
the other
Yeah.
event was like the hip hop all day show, whatever
Yes.
it was. So she comes walking up or driving through to go to the Foo Fighters show, and the guy there's like, over to your left.
Over here.
Come on. She's like, no.
Yeah.
And he's like, yep, you're going over there to the hip
No,
hop.
no, you're going the wrong side.
She had to whip out her ticket. No,
No,
look.
it's Foo Fighters. I'm a Foo Fighters fan. It's just good-natured profiling. That's his
Yes.
name. I mean, it's light
Light
It was
profiling.
light profiling,
Yes.
but I guess that was profiling to just assume you wanted country over hip-hop.
Mhm.
And your wife was offended on her birthday.
She was.
Unfortunate.
She was.
But whatever, unfortunately, that's where we are.